Okay. So played around with it. Couldn't really get it to look perfect. I'll just say it's me not being well. Okay, I'll just say that lacking the skills for facial rig. But okay, so yeah, basically again, just to mention what I've done so far and what I've done offline.
你还是不左边。
什么 picture？你在讲什么 picture？来不来不来，用中文就好了。可是可以开电视吗？
我不是说嫌它吵。
那我大台吵。对。那头脑要想
看一下
什么？
高跟鞋，高跟鞋。
头。
brain
melting。
我那不快啊。那是差在哪里
？Room is hot. Brain melting.
对比啦，对
I'm
比啦，这个
looking
啦，这个
for
啦。
a reference
这个啦。
picture.
哦，没看到啊。
Fine， 我用 screenshot 好了 ，screenshot。
它没有，它是凉鞋。
等一下，
随便一个。
等一下。Hold on, I need to take a screenshot. So my mom had a reference, so she can draw shoes.
Shoes.
And while I'm taking that screenshot on my phone, so yeah, so can't really get any precise movements with the bones, and I'm not really sure if there's a way to do that. And phone not running. Testing mic. Okay. And so I don't think I can do much more with the eyebrows. That and I can't really control the entire eyebrow. Well, actually, I can't really control the entire shape of the eyes without putting a bunch of bones around the eyes.
你看我这样吃不成，你这脚太小了吧？这个脚啊，太小了吧？你个身体这么大，这脚那么小。
有啊。对啊，你的 style 就是没有脚。
我看，
就是你有自己的 style，you have your own style， 然后呢，你的 style 就是没脚 ，your style is no feet。
什么叫没脚？没脚？吗？差这么多了吗？
我要用 3D 我怎么放大？
要算了吧。
你有 email 吗？你就给你
没有啊。哦。email 要去 email 看，我看一下就好了。
对，so
这么小，你会想。
Anyways, the plan next is I wanna actually do the cheeks. I don't want to spend forever on the eyes, especially if I can't get it perfect. I don't want to keep saying perfect, but get it to work efficiently. So I was considering doing other way. I also want to actually finish the rigging first, so I'm going to need to make the lip corners because that's, yeah, I haven't worked on the beak yet. So I need to do lip corners on the cheeks and the mouth and then actually rig the beak. So lip corner. Okay, so first of all, the cheeks. Yeah, this isn't going to work for cheeks. Need more vertices to control the shape. Well, actually, let me check. So if I do that, there's more cheeks on the face. But then the issue is that I can only control this edge, this vertex point if I have a bone. And basically, that will also mean that it's just going to be up and down. And I guess I don't need. The only reason I would need cheeks is if he's puffing, if he's pouting, which I guess isn't too important because the beak is going to control most of the mouth movement. Let me actually see if there's a picture of him, of his mouth motion. Technically, I could also add dimples to a smile when he's smiling. Yeah, okay, so he needs mouth corners, which would be on the body mesh, just for when he's smiling, there's dimples. Okay, so that would mean, first of all, I need to turn off that. I will have to cut a line down this section so that connects with the mouth. Go over and connect with this line because that's a triangle. So here goes the knife. Oh, 你到哪里了？
改啊。
我图放在这里。
没有，看这边你在讲自己讲就好。
And then okay, I'll just cut this section here and then merge. Actually, do I want to merge here or can I do something else? Okay, I'm going to turn off the eye and see if I can do something else here. Actually, I could just leave it as a and gone. Trying to see if I can connect this dot somewhere. Connect the dots. Or more like making a new dot. Okay, I think I can cut a triangle here. Remove the edge here. And then connect here. And then I have quads. Okay, now I have to figure out where the eyes were. And where the beak. That's the copy, the beak. I might as well name this beak so I know it's beak. And let's go back to faces. Okay, faces. Okay. Okay, and so I have the lip corner here. And I don't need the cheeks to be too puffy. And so I can now add a new bone and I'm going to call this one lip corner. Yeah, I'll do a lip corner.
刚说的时候就说歪掉了。
我给你看这个图。
没有这一条线，
这个图呢？
它是拖鞋啊？
高跟鞋。
它怎么像拖鞋高跟鞋？
我给你看拖鞋的高跟鞋。
你看这里这一条线是哪？
Okay, I'm looking for pictures of high heels.
这条线是哪里来的？
哪里有？
这条线。我在这里扫。
像这算？
歪下去了。
我给我们去看一些鞋子比较靠近这个鞋子的。
我没有看。
因为它的是那个什么尖的 好像就是 stiletto。
它也是像这样子啦。
不是 stiletto，你要是这个的，但是下面会比较低，就比较像这样子，就是下面比较低，但是有后面这块比较厚，这样子。原来是两个地方，然后前面就是牙线这样子尖，这样子尖的，你看。因为我要用另外一个，
可能还比较看得到。
但是先不用高跟鞋后面那块，先做出来那个前面的形状，所以呢，先不要翘起来，因为那翘起来要用骨头改。
不用翘。
Okay, now back to Chicky. Hold on, try to read the chat. Well, okay, so don't forget about that. When you make a rig, create the character poil. Just don't forget the, and then the rest of it gets cut off, so I'm gonna need to read it from the stream. Okay, I'm just gonna hop into my stream and see what that chat was, what that comment chat was. Just don't forget to save the project. Okay, yeah, it's classic Microsoft Word crashing on you while you're writing an essay sort of idea. Except that my computer hasn't crashed in forever. Okay, so let me just see Poil. See how much work it'll be for Poil. Okay. Actually, he has 2 feathers on his head. Okay, yeah, Poil isn't too hard, I think. I will need to make irises, so I haven't made the irises yet. Okay, Poil. Okay, yeah, I can do Poil. But first, yeah, it'll be easier to do Poil after getting the rig set up. Then again, let me just see Poil again. Yeah, actually, yeah, it would be easier if I have the rig set up before I do Poil. Okay, so I need lip corner. I'm going to need to change it to pose mode, and then just attach the beak or rig the beak with the Blender's auto rigger. See how that turns out. Usually the auto rigger works better with humanoids. Yeah, can't say it works well with non-humanoids. And yep, that then this bone didn't get assigned the proper weight, so I'm gonna need to weight paint that now. Okay. Yeah, so the beak isn't too hard. At least I hope it isn't too hard. Every time I say that, I usually end up putting 10 times harder than I imagined. So, okay, so yes, hopefully this is going to be very basic because the eyebrows were much harder because the beak technically just needs to open and close. Well, and technically it changes size, but that can be done with scaling the rig, or at least the mouth bones. And so I'm not too concerned about changing the overall shape of the beak because the bones can handle that. Okay, now mouth beak corners. Yeah, that's going to be an issue. I guess I'm going to need to distribute the weights, or I have to split the beak in half. That might work better. Okay, let me see if this. Whoops. Actually, while I'm doing that, okay, I got it wrong. Okay, so I just need this corner here. And yeah, so it's being distributed to, yeah, this vertex sort of belongs to both half beak. It looks like I'm gonna have to split the beaks apart to do this. Okay, now I can just half of that. Okay, half of that, and switch over to the other side. I can do that, right, screencast the keys. So I can switch over to the bottom beak by using Control I, except that I need to select. Yeah, okay, I can't do that because I have parts of it selected already when I need the entire beak selected. So I'm reselecting the bottom beak, have the paint mask on, and now I can have to turn the paint mask off and click on the beak, and flip it back on, except that now I'm looking at it. I technically need this part of the beak, not the entire bottom part, because this part is sharing the weights. Yeah, it has weights for the bottom beak, but that's exclusively meant for the top beak. OK 啊，什么？
我要把这条线把它删除掉，比如说按，是不是这样？按 X，然后按
你要
哪一个？
删除还是你要消除，还是
那个最多
溶掉、消失？
消失这条做这条线的，还是你看有没有觉得怪怪的？你看我可以看，你看这条线不知道为什么在那里，这条线为什么在这里？在这里又没有了，这怎么办？
就是这里啊，你看我们脚这里，你摸看看。
有啊，我知道，可是
所以才有那条啊，因为这里啊。
我一定要有这一条，对不对？
看你啊，你可以不用啊，只是你会多一大块空间啊。
是啊。
你看，我有最给你更高跟鞋。
我刚刚用过的。
Okay, looking at pair of heels again. Because my mom is saying that there's an extra vertex that doesn't make sense. Yeah, okay, 在这里，但是就是你脚趾头要遮脚趾头而已，但是有那块在这里看，有那块啊，在这里圆的，那个三角形都是圆的辅助，删除的时候就是四四方方一点的。
对啊，我刚刚删除了，应该是这样。
Okay, now back to getting the weight painting done. Okay, now, okay, still missed a few parts. Yeah, it's missing. I still have. Okay, so you can just turn it to 500 and just wiggle mouse around, turn it back to, I guess, 70, and okay. And this looks weird, but technically it's clipping instead of mesh, so you don't see it. And also technically it's being weird because this part should be connected to that part because the joint should be near this section here, the midpoint of the two beaks. So I just need to adjust that so that it opens up and opens and closes at the right position. So yeah, like that, except that the beak is inside the mouth a little. So it should technically be right where the beak and the body joins. Well, I can test it, but definitely would look a bit weird, I think. Yeah. And I think it would be better to merge the beak with the body, but also that's another thing that I have to look into before I should commit to. Oh yeah, okay. This, and if we go into the front, yeah, so now it looks like it's opening, where it looks like these two corners are the hinges now, instead of the previous way, which is like, okay, which is kind of not opening on the hinges. I'm just going to double check on the reference if that's okay. Yeah. lips. Actually, okay, hold on a second. I'll go back to the making it so that opens and closes right on the part where the beak joins with the head. And I want to see if I can stretch the beak. So something like that. I would have to, yeah, okay, so I wonder if I need to make an actual mouth on Chicky. I think that might be the way to go, making an actual mouth on Chicky and then attaching the beak to its face. Well, that might be nightmare fuel though. Yeah, it's looking kind of funky. Let's see. Plan. Okay, better idea. I'm going to do that thing that I said I wasn't going to do. You mean this way? Yeah, okay. I'm going to try something. I'm going to save in case this goes wrong. And I'm going to use Boolean. So the issue with Boolean is that it sort of does things haphazardly. Okay, you see what it looks like? Yeah, way too haphazardly. Okay, so Boolean, not a good idea. So ideally, I want to be able to join this to the face. Actually, well, no, it's not a good idea, but mouth. Well, I could. Okay, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do mouth some other time because looks like it's huge undertaking. Unless I can figure this out right now. Okay. So I need to actually. Okay, brain is trying to do things way too fast. Need to slow down my thinking process. Okay, I need to make room here. And okay, I'll just stick with the plan for today, and then I'll work on it. Work on what everything that I have in my mind later, because there's a lot of things I want to try, and not enough time to actually do any of that. So for now, the beak is going to be hinged on the point where the mouth touches the face. I ideally want to have a mouth hole here, so that's not just a solid thing. Of course, I could also just texture it and then call it a day. Or I can actually make mouth and sort of a Five Nights at Freddy's Chica look. But yeah, that's going to be something I'm going to do on my own time. Because it's going to be... I'm not sure if it's going to work out. Anyways, this thing isn't working, the lip pointer, so I need to weight paint that. And here's the issue with that. I need actual vertices on the lip pointer. And I missed. Okay, there. Now I have actual lip pointers here. Might as well select the whole thing. And let's say about 0.5. Actually, what bone am I on? Lip corner. Okay, that's good. But just to be sure that I actually on the lip corner, let me have this bone selected, and turning back the face, the paint mask, and let's see if it works. Nope, because I don't have the right side apparently. Okay, what happened to the right side? Okay, I didn't rename that. Lip corner dot R. Okay, and then if I move that, okay, and needs tuning, but more or less like this, and then I can stretch it out, and I can lower it so that he's sad. Except that to make him sad, I have to turn lips the other way, and then stretch it down. Okay, so can be polished a bit more, but generally I think this is good for the start of the beak. And now I need tongue, except that the tongue, okay, so I apparently turned it into that shape. Okay, tongue. I'm gonna need, okay, so for organization purposes, because I don't want to have so many bones obstructing my view, I'm gonna actually put that into a separate layer. Yeah, it's sort of like layers in other art programs, though I haven't used much other art programs. So now the body bones are in one layer and the face bones are in another, and they're not obstructing each other. And I can just switch between them whenever I have to work on a different set of bones. Okay, so now that I have the bones here, and I've more or less done with the beak for now, more or less done with the eyes. What's the other thing? Tongue, right, tongue. Okay, so I'm going to need a tongue bone. Actually, tongue bone. I probably need at least 3 bones for the tongue. Okay, I'll need to grab this body here because it's centered, and I can just set the bone here. Name this bone to be tongue, and I can just subdivide it by 3 times, and it's just name it, rename the suffix to something that doesn't look weird. Okay, and I can just click on the tongue, click on the bone. Okay, I need to switch to this layer, and apparently I have it on the wrong layer, or no, I have it hidden. Wait, I guess in the pose layer. Yeah, okay, I have it. I had it hidden in the pose layer, and I need this to be in the face layer. Okay, now I have that. I can click on the tongue. 你到哪里了？Okay, and just Control P with automatic weights, just to have something started for us. And again, Blender is failing. Blender's auto rigging is failing us for some reason. Actually, maybe I should just try running that again. Oh, it's because the beak. The beak there is causing the auto rigger to do some funky things. And so I'm going to need to just stick with just the tongue bone. So actually I need the body. Now where is the tongue? Keep the tongue bones, and I can delete everything else. Delete all unlock groups. Let's see how that looks. Except that I can't see. Okay. I'm going to create a new collection just because there's this thing that I want to keep hidden, but I want to see. I want to hide everything else so that I can see what the tongue is doing. So I'm going to just put that there, hide that so we don't see it, and I'm going to keep the armature and keep the tongue and hide everything else. And now pose the tongue to see if the weight painting is okay. I'll use auto IK. It's looking rough. So what that means is typically two things. So if we look at the vertices don't align with the joints. It's bending in the middle of these two faces, not faces, these two group of faces. So the joint is stuck in the middle here. And because it's stuck in the middle there, it's folding those two faces here need to change. Yeah, it's folding these two sections, and that's making it an awkward shape. Similarly to this, I'll just hide that. So yeah, it's folding weirdly along these two places because those two places aren't meant to be folded because there's no vertices there. So I can improve the folding by adding cuts in the middle here. And then this thing where it's kind of going down a little is an issue with the weighting. Probably because of the beak. That the beak weights that was already on there, so I just need to adjust it. And it's one of those micro adjustment things. I'm not going to actually paint them. I'm just going to go through the item menu in the whatever this sidebar is and just make adjustments there because it's just one or two vertices. So it's more of a, let me see, there's a ton 1, ton 2, ton 3. So it's more control on ton 2 and less control on ton 3. Actually, no, this is a smoothing issue. I could just smooth it out. Okay, so I just want to smooth this section. Paint mask, and then always click because for some reason, maybe it's only in my version, but it changes mode whenever I switch. Okay, switch paint mask modes. Yeah. Let's see, smooth and smooth 5. Okay, so that's not going down. That section there is not going down. Which means okay. Okay, so the vertices don't line up perfectly, or I might be in the wrong side of the mirror. No, I'm in the right side of the mirror. The subdivision is just not lining up with the actual amount of vertices I have. We don't either. So, okay, need more vertices. Basically, when in doubt, when you're weight painting, maybe you need more vertices. It helps to smooth out the weights so that it's less rough. I do not want to be working on the tongue forever. So I'll just take like 3 more minutes and then I want to move to rigging the body. I'll figure out the weighting afterwards just because weighting is very tedious. Okay, I need to
哦，这个线是不是我要照这个线会比较好？是这样的啊？是不是我这样子就是歪了？
什么东西歪啊？
我点的这个线，你看我这样子是不是那歪歪的感觉？我这个角，好像歪歪的。啊？我的脚这样有没有歪？
我不知道，我没有看到歪啊。
没有。
对。
那我再看看。
And I should be using the smooth tool. And let's see. Nope, still looks off. I'm gonna have to figure out that offline because I could spend hours fixing one vertex sometimes. Okay, so all H to bring everything back, and this backup is still closed. Okay, I want to finish the body rig and where to get the coil. Actually, if I also need to do texture painting and I also still need to make the iris.
我不要这一条线，怎么要把它弄掉啊？
什么线啊？
这个亮亮的这个。
Object mode A，连写字。Okay, so rigging the hands. Actually, one thing that's been bothering me with the hands is that I want this part to be a bit thicker. So that looks more puffy. Yeah. And then okay. Now the hands. Hopefully we don't need extra bones for the fingers, but if we do, I'll add them afterwards. And I'll actually also before I make the hands. The thing of the hands that I've done a lot of hands, so I know that I'm probably going to need to do this. Same idea with the tongue, where I needed extra vertices for them to fold properly. I find that using this method helps. Yeah. Like, coil isn't going to be as hard as Chicky just because they have similar shapes. The major difference is the color. Yeah, mainly the color. And then the shape and everything else is just slight adjustments. So for color, I'm gonna probably, I'm not the best with texture stuff, mainly because I'm just using, I want to do everything in Blender. And yeah, in terms of, and yeah, I'm more used to doing texture stuff in Blender. Well, not true, really. Just, I'll talk about it later. But for now, I want to, Coil isn't too bad because he keeps the same shape as Chicky, which means I can make Chicky a template for Coil. And so all I have to do is change the shape of Chicky a little in order to make him Coil. Then afterwards, it's just changing the colors. The important thing from the looks of it is that I need irises because Coil has sort of slightly different looking irises. Well, also depend on the image, reference image I'm looking at. But yeah, it's like basically it's a color swap, palette swap type of character. Okay, what is happening with this thing here? Oh, okay, that part. Yeah, I'm gonna need to cut that. Okay, and need joints here and here, and ideally just a couple of extra loops on the fingers here. Okay, so do 6th of June. I'm gonna be off for the next 3 days. And let me see what's happening on the 6th. Yeah, no, I'm gonna be off for the next 3 days, so I'll be back Saturday. And Saturday is kind of, I don't have no idea what's going to happen on Saturday. It might be Chicky, it might be the other thing. It really depends on what happens that day. Okay, switch this back. Okay, I have the joints for the fingers. And yeah, if you want coil next. Yeah, basically I wanted to cycle between the two models, but then on Saturday, because I'm trying to show my mom how to do Splendor, and she's usually busy on Saturday, so Saturday is either Chicky or the other model, depending on whatever my mom's doing on that day. Ah, 你也写到了吗？还是你现在又卡在哪里了？
哎呀，别卡在那里，别卡在。
Yeah, so basically I want the bones to bend at the center of the fingers, joints. That way it's cleaner, and also the auto rigging is better. So just aligning the bones to the center of these 3 lines. This is a relatively humanoid hand, so the auto rigger should be able to pick it up very quickly. There's one issue though, and let's see if that's gonna happen. Now, tool to auto IK just to see if it works. And yeah, I see the issue. Okay, so I might need support bones. Technically, I could just weight paint it, but fingers paint to weight paint. So I'm just gonna add knuckle bones. I am gonna have to weight paint the thumb though. Let me just see what the thumb's gonna look like. Yeah, the thumb, basically the palm of the hands isn't gonna work well. It usually never works well with the auto rigger. So that's gonna be something I have to weight paint. The knuckles though, I can take the easy way and just have the auto rigger paint the knuckles on. Now something I sometimes do is I add support bones over the joints so that it bends. And from the looks of it, yeah, adding support bones might help. Also, something that would also help is if I had vertices running through the middle of the hand. Basically, yeah, I needed to, yeah, that would also help in terms of maintaining the structure whenever the mesh deforms. And doing that with doing that little cut with subdivision turns the mesh a little square. So I'm just gonna smooth it out a little so that's more round. Now the thing is I don't want it to smooth out the fingers too much. I'll adjust it afterwards. Yeah, okay, let's see what it looks like. Not the damage isn't too bad. The joints are still there. Okay, and I think I want to add. Well, okay, let's just add it just to see how that turns out. Basically, I tend to, because this is how you do elbows, and it works well with elbows, which is to add support bones wherever you have like a bend that's over 90 degrees. Yeah, so just a quick explanation. Basically, what's happening with this, specifically this finger, is this section here. Let me bring up the mesh. So yeah, this section here isn't bending because, well, the issue is that it, it's not so much Blender, but it's more so the way weight painting work is, and that's if I go into weight painting, well, this bone control, so this line here where it's not exactly bending is halfway between this finger bone and this finger bone. And basically, the auto rigger doesn't know exactly how much this should bend. This should be weighted towards the this finger bone or this finger bone, and so it ends up looking like this. And the issue then is that technically both ways are valid because both ways are valid equally or equally invalid because if it's too much this way, then it'll fold too much that way. If it's too, and right now it's just too much towards this finger, and it's, yeah, basically you want to have it folded halfway between the two fingers. And just to show you that, yeah, you might need a support bone there just to help it bend better. We can try to reduce the weight of this finger. And I guess technically it would be valid just to have the weights distributed halfway through these two bones. Yeah, so basically, yeah, and then you run into this issue where now you have half the fingers not weighted strong enough against this finger, and you, yeah, it's not looking great, basically. Yeah, getting like the right balance where the two vertices meet between a joint is tricky. And usually how I fix it, or at least make it easier on myself because I don't want to be weight painting forever, is I add these support bones, which um, more, how do I explain it? They add weight to basically the top of the fingers, and it's a bit more, the weights become more evenly distributed between the three bones instead of the two bones. And so there's less shrinkage on mesh because, yeah, the issue is that the bones, when they bend past 90 degrees, you get shrinkage. It's like you see it here, it shrinks. And this bone here prevents shrinking because it's holding the part that's shrinking back. And if we have to like preserve volume here, basically if there is, ideally you don't want shrinkage, and this is what it looks like with all the shrinkage. However, this is not a good setting to have on just because it's Blender only. So if you want like to export this to any other project, this setting is invalid. And so the way, so this bone will serve as like a support to prevent the mesh from shrinking. Otherwise, it's a lot of weight painting that may or may not work. And also, this is why I don't like finger doing hand rigs. Well, it's just a lot of bones. Okay. Technically, it's mostly where you want the bones to be in the direction where they're going to be bending the most. So I think this would make no sense. And now, if I do another re-rig it, now, okay, mainly the second finger. So it's okay. So it's still, well, actually, I think, yeah. So it's not like perfectly puffy. Well, actually, I think this is making it more puffier. And let's see, I would say that looks better than it was before re-rigging. This part's still kind of funky. And I could do extra here by making it so that it bends in these bones bend in the direction of the finger, which actually helps a lot actually. So I might as well show that. So I can add a bone constraint, copy rotation onto this bone here, and just switch into local space, and I can try to figure out which axis this is going to be on. All right, I haven't set bones yet. What is this finger? Index B. Okay, so I need to copy the rotation of index B. And instead of going 1-to-1 with your rotation, 0.5 is better. So yeah, this more or less helps maintain the shape of the mesh, reduce the shrinkage. Let's see how it looks. So yeah, it's better than the first two ways, basically. Now, here's a drawback of using this copy rotation constraint. It's also Blender only. So if you export it, you lose this thing here. The good news is most other programs have something similar to copy rotation. Most. Some programs don't. And then you run into more headache when you find that out. But yeah, it'll be something you'll figure out at some point. But yeah, and yeah, this is so basically I would have to set up all the bones to actually fold like that, which I'm going to probably do some other time, or actually offline, because it's just same copy and paste, except that you can't copy and paste this. There probably is actually. Hold on, let me see if I can copy and paste. Yep, okay, I can copy and paste, but I have to change the references. So, the other hand. Okay, so yeah, looking a lot better, except this part is not doing its work. What is that doing? Yeah, it's not doing what it needs to do. And from the looks of it, because there's no knuckles. I did not draw knuckles on Chicky. And so this isn't actually doing anything because there's no vertices assigned. Basically, there's not enough vertices assigned to this to prevent this sort of deformation. Yeah, so basically there's nothing here and it's folding weird. So I have to draw knuckles. And so something that's really helpful with saving time is setting, basically instead of weight painting, I can get the blender to auto rig for me, and because I have it set up correctly the first time, it saves. Yeah, basically I don't. If I'm weight painting every time, I think I have to add a vertice here and there. I'm gonna lose my mind. So setting up a good rig from the get-go so that most of the stuff it gets done for you is really great as a time saver. Unfortunately, it's like only use good for humanoids. Most of the time, you just have to weight paint. But fortunately, the hands look human enough for the auto rigger to work well, so I could just make changes to the mesh and then just auto rig again and not have to go through weight painting. Okay, so this section, actually, at this point, it might be easier if I just weight paint. Okay, so it needs to be the hand. Also, as you can see, there's a bunch of weights that technically aren't being used because like 0.003 and all that. Uh, what you can do about that is you can go into weights, clean, and then select like 0.1. It'll delete all the weights. Also make sure it's set in the correct subset. I want all groups. So then I will delete everything, every weight under 0.01, and technically I can go higher. So like anything under 0. You have to 0.9, and that pretty much deletes all the weights that aren't being used, and you have a more cleaner looking vertex weight section here, and then you can just, it's a bit of a hassle, but you can just slide this back and forth instead of actually painting. And yeah, this is middle finger A, so it should be a bit higher actually. But then looking at it, I don't think I have this rigged, do I? Hold on, I think I'm missing weights for those. Okay, so let me rename them because I remember re-rigging that, but they all have the same name, so I'm not sure if I did. Okay. I'm going to have to rename the other site too. I'll do that off stream. I'm going to do a lot of the menial work off stream. A, B, C. And I'll do that off stream too. Okay. And pose. So done with automatic weights. And now I should have knuckles. But let me just clean up the weights again. O groups. And let's see this part. That is still doing that thing. And yeah, knuckles isn't being assigned here, so I want to assign knuckles, this vertex to the knuckles. Specifically, yeah, it's again halfway between knuckles A and knuckles B, but I think. Huh?
我竟然这样讲一个洞洞，怎么样说很久，说到现在都说不起来。沉下去了，不知道怎么办。
Okay, so now I'm just fixing shoes because My mom's still doing shoes from yesterday. Her shoes aren't shaped correctly, and she's struggling with the clipping issues. Yeah, I'm just remodeling the shoe now because it's everywhere. It's clipping everywhere. 你看，还有 look 下面一条，它才撑得住。
look 一条呀，就是这边。
那就是一看这里这个空间太大，所以你可能要塞几个 look cut，所以它才比较不会沉得下去。Math， 你知道吗？Math。
那我是上面这一格的话，上面的你看弄不进去啊。
Yeah， 你被 look 下面一点。
look 这一条都 look 就对了。
Look cuts. Okay, where's Knuckles? Knuckle, I want to sign.
第一条是不是？第一条是不是
Yes.
look 那下面这个要不要？
先不用，你最好就是少一点痘痘在那里。要痘痘的时候再加，但是不需要不用一直加。Okay, and now Knuckles, let's see if I do that. And this part here, let's also assign it to the Knuckles. And it's already at 1. Okay, so this is like the more precise way of doing weighting. Otherwise, you should just weight paint. I do, but the issue of weight painting is that it's all based on colors, and the color gradients. Basically, it's based on color gradients, so it's harder to get precise. That is also distributed between multiple bones, so it's hard to flip between different weights and bones. And then you can do like a quick smooth, quick measure. Usually 5 is good. Yeah, basically, even though I use the auto rigger, ideally you go through and clean up the weights to make sure that it's good. The weighting auto weight rigger is like I would say 80% accurate. So the other 20% you're gonna have to do yourself. So for now, I'll say the hand is done until at least I need to take some time to clean that up. And now I need to actually do the arm. Now, here's the problem. I rigged the fingers and I forgot that the arms are attached to the fingers. So basically I'm gonna have to undo all that weight painting I did, but it was only a few minutes, so that should be fine. But basically I had to undo those. And the issue with the arm is basically I don't have an elbow and the arm was not halfway through. It's more or less done. There's still a lot of things you can do with it, but the base model, basically the basic shape, the mesh, is done. what you can do, and then like you can also then change color it, and yeah, you can color it, and then but once you have the mesh done, basically you can basically make any of the other characters in Chicky. Where's Chicky? In fact, just to show you it, basically what I can do with Poyo. Okay, so actually the only way to get Poyo to work, I'll have to rig the legs and the arms first. But yeah, as long as the other characters in Chicky are the same shape as Chicky, I can just make accessories for different parts and just change the sizes of their limbs. But that's fine. I'm not that good with textures. But yeah. Anyways, the arm, I need an elbow. Tick. Okay, so getting into the nitty gritty of it. Hmm. Okay, I see. You have any place you want it hosted, or should I just? Actually, I'm gonna have to figure out where to post this. Host. Yeah, host the files. Unless you have like a preferred place. Okay, so I'm looking at the pictures because there's an issue with Chicky's arm. I'm trying to see if I need to make a correction to it or if I can continue with the way I have it set up. Hmm. Okay, let me get onto the stream. I'll mute myself. Yeah, okay. Okay, I guess if when I figure out where to post all this, where to host the file, I'll post it in the chat or in the description. Yeah, I open the description of the videos as soon as I figure that out. Okay, so the arm. Yep, it's not going to be as difficult as Chicky just because Chicky is done for almost, and I can just reuse Chicky to do that to make Poyo. And the issue right now with Chicky's arm is that his arm is too flat. I need to turn off my own stream. Okay. This part. So there's a sort of, so his arm and hands are kind of, basically he has no wrist. So I need to make sure he has no wrist, but at the same time his arms are round and not flat. So not really wing-like. So I'm going to need to make a slight adjustment to that. Okay, so I guess the hands needs to be a bit thicker here. But the fingers have to be thinner. Yeah, I can make coil. I will need to finish rigging Chicky. So yes, yeah. It won't take as long as it did to make Chicky because I can just use Chicky as a base mesh. And Chicky needs at least a wrist here. Okay. And I need to turn this off. Uh, yeah, it's not going to be too difficult. At least I hope it isn't, because they are relatively the same shape. So if everything works for Chicky, then it would work for Coil too. Okay, now that's too much. I'm going to need another loop cut here because this line is too close to the left, and that is because of subdivision. And I will need this here, same reasoning. Well, actually, I don't need, or do I? Yeah, it's same reasoning because I need the joint here to be as close to each other as possible, and so I need extra lines here to push those joints together. Okay, and that should do. Okay, actually, I need to push this in a little bit more. And okay, I may need a shoulder bone, but I'll just see how this turns out first. Okay, and I'm gonna call it a day after I get. Yeah, I'll just call it a day after this. Okay, let's see how the arms look now. Okay, rigging. That's automatic. Oh yeah, I have this modifier turned off. Okay, just so you can see. Yeah, so the knuckles I have to repaint. The thumb is going to be something I have to work on for a while, so I haven't done it yet. The arms in general, basically, yeah, I need the elbow to copy rotation here. Copy rotation, do that, and then it's going to be lower arm and local space. Local space, I think it's only on the Z. Okay, and 0.5. Yeah, so elbow. I guess you can bend it this way if you want. Now the wrist. The next issue is the wrist. Again, there's shrinkage. Uh, I should probably show you how to do the wrist too, because the wrist is a huge headache when when I was learning about the wrist, but I guess I'm gonna have to save that for next time because I'm running out of time. I'm just gonna parent all this first. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make twist bones a separate thing. Yeah, the way to do the wrist is using a twist bone. But yeah, okay, I don't have that parented yet. So yeah, the wrist is doing that thing. I also do parent these to the hand, hand, just so you can see that it's the hand that's causing it. Well, actually, it's not too bad actually, because Chicky's hands are kind of thick. But basically, you're having a shrinkage issue here too. And the way you solve that is using twist bones. And you can also get real complicated with the wrist. Basically, anything with more than 2 axes of rotation, like the hands or shoulders, you get a lot of shrinkage issues. And there's like a bunch of ways you can deal with it. But I guess that's going to be another topic for some other time. Anyways, I'm gonna call this a day. This is I say 70% of the arm is done. I'll need to repaint some fingers because auto riggers only does 80% of the work for you. The thumb doesn't work with the auto rigger, so I'm going to fix that myself, and it's just painting. I'll be back Saturday, but I might be working on the other model on Saturday. Yeah, you'll have to see what I'm going to be doing on Saturday then. But yeah, I'll be back on Saturday, taking the next 3 days off because I have stuff to do. And like anything else? 你到哪里了？
还没好嘞。
Okay, so I'm gonna say that's it then, and I'm going to stop streaming